Let's see here. Put the eggs up. Do the social sting. There we go. I did the reflectional thing in Position Heart 7-18 turns. Wow, Lunatic! I'm struggling with that. Holy crap, I'm still struggling with that. Good job. And you heard some noise coming from ahead. Secretary City. Hello, Tammy! Welcome to the stream. We are just about to get started. Use Blood Fainting and Ring Duel for first aim, then Sinking with Index Nerds Farther thing for second thing. Oh. Okay, I need to try that. So making a full ring thing is bait, I kind of figured. Let's see, Tommy. I was taking a break and waiting my head to go away before I start working on the sprite again. Ah, I see. The skirt bow ribbon made me melt. Makes sense. Usually skirts, especially the frilly ones, they are very tricky to do in pixel art. I mean, full ring thing could probably work. I just wanted to use my blood things. Sasha did 2k damage. Nice! I don't know, I seem to have clashing issues with them when I use the full thing. Don't know why. Maybe the RNG just isn't for me. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone! How's everyone doing today? Hello, and welcome to Pixel Art and Yep, where we do pixel art and Yep. Hello! Tammy, I mean, frills are okay, it's the bow itself that drove me insane. I did like 4 or 5 variants before I was like, fuck it, and just load up a pre-made one to link to it. Ah, I see. Bows are tricky, they absolutely are. Hello! Hope you're all doing good today. So, today, I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do. I do wanna show something. Let me show the one I can show, just barely on Twitch. Look at this. Look at how much it bounces. I'm very proud of how that turned out. I want to do another one, but it feels a little bit an SFW. Or... looks like something from a poker game. Thank you! It was very bouncy. I'm trying to make more stuff with the OCs that I'm making, you know? Gozuki and Mizuki. I want to do one of Mizuki too, but from the back. But I don't think I have any references that would be safe for work to use on stream. So let's not do that. Let's do something else instead. I like that titties do actually have some weight to them. Thank you. Thank you. I was trying. A lot of it, it's actually a hard thing to do, to make, put weight into them, you know? So for today, I do have a question, guys. Do you guys want me to update any emotes? We still have a few emotes that are very old here. So I do want to know from the animated emotes if you guys have some that you guys think are kind of like, you'd like replace it or something. From our older emotes, we got this one, which let me list the emotes that I'm thinking of updating / changing from the animated ones. So these are the ones. The main one, I feel like it's a little bit... It's too tiny, you can barely see anything, right? So it's not that good, and I'm not even sure what we're trying to communicate with it. The Copium one is very old, it's very old. The Time Passes one is cool, but technically not physically accurate, the sun does not work that way. And the pen grabs one, I don't know, maybe we could do something better. So I was hoping if you guys have any suggestions for emotes. I would appreciate it. But you guys can think this over. For the stream today, I have a strange idea. Let me see if I can get the exact reference. Do we... Do I get... Is this... Okay, so this is the most iconic frame. So, for today... How about we make this into pixel art? I don't know if I'm gonna hate your suggestions until you make them, Tammy. I don't know if I'm gonna hate your suggestions until you make them. Why? I'm curious though. Why would I hate them? It's related to what you hate with, like, the JoJo aura. JoJo aura? Eh? What do you mean? Like, make a JoJo looking ninjaling? Or a JoJo looking me? Ah, cactus with a menacing aura. That would be funny. That would be funny. But I think we could do that as a single without an animation. I don't know if we make that with an animation or without an animation. It could be pretty interesting though. Hold up. Let me see. $56 Was that the right number? Let's see, 32 by 32, 48 by 48, 36 by 56. Okay. So basically, what you're saying is so you would have a cactus right? Let's make it as more centered. Oh god. You know, I had forgotten that I told that story before, the cactus story. God, that was painful. That was a time of my life that I had. Jesus. I mean, compared to Valio Salvation Pie, that is nothing. That sounds scary. That sounds scary. So... No, I have not. I have not. So let's see. For a cactus, we could do this. Right? And then, is it too chubby of a cactus? It might be too chubby of a cactus. Basically, she almost died like 2-3 times in a span of 5 seconds. Yeesh. Holy crap. Because of pie? What did she do? What did she put in the pie? Like, technically I ate Styrofoam once, while trying to make cheese bread, but that didn't really, risk my life in any way, so what the hell did she do? It is a rather sad story, that one. Automod censoring cream pie. Very short TLDR, she bought a cream pie she wanted sliced part of, but it all fell on the floor and she grabbed a cleaver to scoop it off because the only part of the pie was on the floor. She then liked the cleaver only cut. Oh no. No, she licked the blade. Come on. Come on. Did she go like did she try to do a psycho pose while doing that? She was like, yeah. Hold up. She went like that? Really? Really? Oh no. Oh no. It was unintentional, but it gets worse. Oh, what happened then? She felt the taste of blood as she was gonna go check how bad it was in the mirror, but she slipped it in the pie on the floor and she fell down the floor, the cleaver swing hand facing up. Oh no. Don't play with knives, children. Do not play with the knives. Please. Oh no. Holy crap, Tommy. I see, I see, I see. That was very dangerous. Ow. Holy crap. She's literally the unluckiest person I know. Yes. But also don't lick the blade like that. Do not lick the blade like that. She really, really, really should be careful. It's amazing cool in the animes, but do not lick the blade. That actually reminds me of that classic running gag of the psycho character who like licks the blade because it looks cool, and then he's like, "Oh wait, my blade was poison," and then falls dead on the floor. I love that gag. It's so dumb. It's such a dumb one. Very good. Man, I can't believe that. I don't know if I'm liking the shape of this cactus. Might be a little bit too phallic, I don't know. If you can cut your finger on thin plastic, then you can cut your tongue or sharp knife. That is true, that is true. I remember there was this one time where this was back when Momochi was going to design. She was having design classes in college, and I would go to pick her up, right? It was during the nighttime. I had translator classes, and then I'd go to... After the day, I would go and pick her up for... She had her own classes, right? And on that day, I decided to shave my beard before I went to pick her up. And I accidentally cut my cheek. I have like a tiny mole on my cheek, and sometimes if I'm not careful, I cut myself on it, and I didn't realize I cut it myself. I also didn't realize how bad the cut was. Apparently, I was waiting for her, and it was already night, so it was I was waiting for her. It was a place that was kind of dark because the illumination kind of sucked there. And she saw me bleeding in the shadows. Apparently there was I cut, my mole got a huge cut. So to everyone who was passing by, it looked like I was bleeding in the shadows like some sort of monster. I was fine. There was like it wasn't like really a lot of blood or anything like that, but it did it had. I don't know why it had like the amount I was bleeding was so. I think I need a cactus reference. I don't think I know how to make cactuses. Insect sword, hold up. I never tried to make a cactus before. Okay. Okay, I think I understand now. I think I understand what I'm doing wrong. There we go. Here we are. Now it's gonna work. The reference, what I'm actually doing. Doesn't match at all, doesn't match at all. Man, we've been playing a lot of Mega Man games on this channel, and we beat an X5, and X5 feels like it kind of feels like a weird turning point for the Mega Man games in general. There was one thing that I thought about, that I was thinking about while I was playing it, but I didn't say anything during stream because I couldn't quite put my finger on it, that I thought was very interesting, and this is gonna sound weird, but X5 as a game didn't feel punishing enough compared to other Mega Man games that I played on the channel so far. The checkpoints were actually too merciful. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it did took away a little bit of the, how do I say, the agency of trying to not die, right? It did step away a little bit of the adrenaline, because it didn't really matter if I died, because I would just literally respawn at the bosses again to try again and again and again, right? And there was, when we were playing the, well, X4 not so much the final stage, and I guess X1 was also merciful, specifically on the final boss, but there was it felt like there was a little bit more at stake when I was playing the other Mega Man games, and we got like to the final boss, and it was like, oh my god, I gotta do my best to try and learn the moves to defeat Dr. Wily, otherwise I'm gonna have to redo all the Robot Masters fight all over again, stuff like that, right? Like, there was, not that I'm against quality of life changes, clearly there were moments in those other games that felt a little bit ridiculously unfair and stuff like that, but I don't know, you do miss something. There is a certain amount of punishment that feels okay, and that allows you to, like, learn certain patterns even better, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Also, X5 felt like the checkpoint system was so merciful. And the game length wasn't adjusted for there to be mercy, I guess. Which I thought was interesting. Was definitely an interesting thing. But yeah. Did I tell the story about how I ate styrofoam once with Babashi? The time I ate styrofoam on a date with Momochi. Did I ever tell that one? You did what? One time, on a date with Momochi, we ate styrofoam together. Yes. Okay, so here's the story. Here's the story, okay? Before you all look weird at me. I had visited Momochi at her old place, right? And we went out to the mall to walk around a bit. And we found this place there that I knew from my childhood. It was an old... it was like a baked bread place. You know those English style baked bread, baked potato, English style baked potato, right? And they sold potato bread there. And I remember that the potato bread from that place was particularly good. So I was like, oh, Momochi, they have amazing potato bread in this place. And she was like, yeah, that's great and all, but we already ate our dinner. And I was like, oh, no problem. They have you can buy it frozen, and we can heat up in your home later, because I was going to spend the night. So we could either eat it later, we could eat it at breakfast if you wanted to. So we bought some. Right? And they came in these styrofoam plates. They came in these styrofoam plates, right? So when we got back to her place, some time had passed. I think we were watching some anime together or something, right? And then I turned to her and I'm like, "Hey, you wanna taste that baked potato bread thing?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure. How do we do this?" And then we looked at the instructions, and the instructions just said, "Put it in the oven for X minutes." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So we put it in the oven for X minutes. We did not take the bread off the plate though. We just slid it into the oven with the yeah, I didn't take the thing off. We just slid it in the oven for X minutes with the styrofoam. Yeah. So then here's what happened. When we took it off, the styrofoam was gone. It disappeared. It did. We thought it was weird, but we kinda didn't want to argue with it too much, I guess. We were like, yeah, but we're really hungry though. So we started eating it, and we realized that it tasted like styrofoam. It had like a lingering styrofoam taste, right? In it. Then I was like, uh-oh. We need to stop eating this. So we stopped eating it. And then we started burping styrofoam. Burp started coming out, and it tasted exactly like styrofoam. We were panicking because, you know, we could be Food poisoning, I guess is the thing to say. Could be toxic and stuff, right? Could be dangerous. So then I had the brilliant idea. I was like, oh, I read that if you're feeling like, I read somewhere that if you are feeling like, intoxicated, not intoxicated, if you're feeling like you need to purge things, you need to drink a lot of milk, because if you drink a lot of milk, it will make it better. So, as a corrective measure, we started drinking a lot of milk. Which technically works, because it makes you puke. So that was an amazing date. That was an amazing date. We ate styrofoam, then drank a lot of milk to puke it out. Would not recommend. Would not recommend. Now how do we give more life to this cacti? Let me take a peek here. Milk does not really cure poison. Don't listen to Minecraft. Yeah. If I recall correctly, I read about it in like how do we make the little horns, I wonder? It was like for people who work with shoe glue, if I'm not mistaken. They drink milk and magnesium milk to offset any intoxication. I say intoxication. Intoxication isn't quite the right word, because intoxication sounds like you're drunk. How do cactuars? How does the cactuar sprite work? Let's see. I don't remember if they actually drew the... No, they really didn't. They really didn't. I see. Interesting. But yeah, it was an interesting time for sure. Important thing is, here we are. Here we are. I have yet to find out someone who got drunk from styrofoam. True. I'm guessing you and Momochi ate fried chicken before? You mean in general, or before eating styrofoam? Because I don't remember. We do eat fried chicken. Yes. Yeah. We do. Man, I am very unsure how to proceed with this cactus. I want to make it look better. So when I was a kid, I didn't like it, and my mom made it for me, and she was looking. I threw mine out at the window to the cats. Oh no, the cats must have loved it. The cats must have loved it. Did the cats go crazy? And them not liking fried chicken. They did it, and ever since we joke about me not throw the chicken out the window this time. Ah, that is nice, that is nice. Man, I don't remember ever doing something quite like that. I wasn't a very that much of a picky eater. There were foods I didn't eat, but I just didn't eat, and that was that. But then again, my mom wasn't the type to, like, force me to eat anything, you know? Which makes it easier. Okay. It's looking alright. Maybe the trick is that instead of making the lines thicker, I should just make more lines that are softer, you know? Maybe like this. The mud incident. I'm assuming it's not as simple as I found the mud. It's never that simple. Let's see. If I just do this. Oh yeah, that already looks better. That already looks better. Let's see. It is as simple as that, but the mud was too deep. I had to leave my clothes behind and walk home half naked. Oh no! My first real test as a ninja. I see. A true test of survival, yes. Yeah. I was like 17 when it happened, so it was bad. Pain. Yuck. This one just looks yuck. On this side, it looks pretty good. So maybe I just thin the lines? How many? 2 pixels apart. Let's see. I'm gonna figure out the thing. Gonna figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Go. Here we go. Man, that actually reminds me that one time that I got robbed. I got so upset. So this one happened to me when I was like, I think 16, 17, if I'm not mistaken. I was in cram school. And I was waiting my mom to get home to drop by to pick me up. And I don't know what happened that day, that she was very, very late. And I got... and I saw this group of people walking in my direction. And I noticed they were like... you know when you feel like aggressiveness coming from the person, right? So I noticed an aura of hostility. Yeah. So it was a group of thugs, but they were basically teenagers too, right? So they made the youngest one speak, and the youngest one was like, "Give me everything you got," right? And at the time, you hear about it. That never happened to me before, so I was just kind of stunned that I was actually being robbed. And I asked them why. First I was like, what? Because like I couldn't quite understand it 100%. My brain wasn't processing it right. And then he was like, give me everything you got. And I remember I just asked why. Like, why are you robbing me? Right? And I ended up catching them off guard. Because I guess no one asked it before. So they were like, So he actually answered. The question. And he was like, oh, because we want to buy... the answer they gave me was like, because I want to buy this food. And I was like, how much is the food? And he got stunned again. Then I think he answered like $10. So I opened my wallet and they were like, yeah, give me everything. And I was like, I pulled 20 and And I was like, here you go. That's enough for you and your friends. You can go now. And they left. I think the main reason was that I stalled them long enough that they were actually at risk of trying to keep going, to try to get more stuff out of me. I guess that was the main reason why that worked. But yeah, technically I got robbed that day, and this is not looking better. This is not looking better. I think I like this better. I think it is okay. I think it is okay. We were trying some stuff, it did not work out. So I remember I got I got really pissed about it because after all that happened, my mom still hadn't shown up. So I just decided to go back home on foot because theoretically I could. It was a ways off, but it wasn't too much. Personally, I would have asked them if $10 was worth being jailed for a few years. Yeah, that usually doesn't work. That usually doesn't work, though. To this day, I'm not entirely sure if they had guns or not. They might have had guns. It might have been like it was probably a really stupid thing to try to resist, as it was a stupid thing to not listen to my guts when I felt the hostility. I mean, but the important thing was we survived. We survived. Welcome to Brazil, Tommy. Even the little kid could have had a gun. Nah, I'm in Brazil. I'm in Brazil. The gun thing is still possible, though. I'm trying to make this more detailed. I should stop. But yeah, ignore what I said. It's fine, it's fine. Different areas in the world have different different levels of danger. Watermelon cactus, indeed, lunatic, indeed. I'm trying to figure out a better way to portray a watermelon with pixel art. I'm not finding it. And if you stop to think about it, cacti are full of juices. Can I add some prickly? Maybe I can add some prickly. Hold up. Here we go. And as I was typing, what I heard from my word soldier from TF2, you can't run from me, my gun is faster. See? It's interesting. I remember I used to read a webcomic that was about TFT without ever playing TFT. I just read anything. Okay, this is a little bit better. There we go. Already looks menacing. It does indeed. It does indeed. But then I'll never forget the needles. I'll never forget that day. Jesus Christ! I had to scrub. You know what it's like to be covered in pricks. Is that how you call needles? Be covered in needles, and then you have to wash yourself with the stone sponge. Yeah, covered in pricks, washing yourself with a stone sponge. Jesus Christ. Hold up. I'm gonna be a bit lazy here. But it's so I don't have to look up. Honestly, don't pay Final Fantasy Kiba. There we go. I already have the menacing. It is very big. This one is very big. But hey, I got the reference. Yeah, I am aware of the 1,000 needle skill. I am aware. Oh yeah, chat. What are those things called? Arm wraps? Arm wraps. Arm wraps. I have a story about arm wraps, by the way. I have a story. I don't know if it's what you're talking about, Tamid. I have these bands that I use to protect my wrists from spending too much time on the PC, basically. Right? I know the correct name for how much his avatar has on her arm. Oh, here? Wait. Or was it? No, it wasn't here. It wasn't here. Ah! Duster, I think. Now, there aren't arm wraps. They are... I guess fingerless gloves? No, that wasn't quite it either. That's a good question, Tammy. I don't know the answer to that. But I do have a story involving arm wraps. I have these ones that are orthopedic that I use whenever I'm doing art, right? So they don't, so my wrists don't get sore and destroyed and stuff like that. And recently I had lost them. I had lost one of them. I have a pair and I lost one. And I was really upset. I could still work with just the one. The one that protects the army that uses the mouse is usually enough, right? But I was still very, like, sad that I had lost the other one because it'd been with me for a while. I bought a spare pair, and I was like... And I was alright, but I was like, where did it go? Right? Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I was almost sure that my doggo had found it, dragged it into the yard and stuff like that, but if that was the case, I would have found it by now. So... Momochi found it for me, and it was in the dumbest place humanly possible. It was under a... It was under a table on the rest area of our office, and the only reason I didn't see it was because I'm too tall. My height was the only reason why it was invisible to me. I was so peeved. I was so peeved. It is a recurring thing, by the way. You're like, oh, being tall is all good, etc., etc. One, back pains. That's a thing that tall people tend to develop way more often. And two, seeing things that are under stuff. It's always so hard for me. It's so hard for me. Every time something is under, I miss it. It's like, I can hide stuff from Momochi by putting them on high shelves, and she can hide stuff from me by just putting them on low shelves. But it was in such an obvious place. It was so easy to find it too. And I had already bought a new pair, like, for, like, no reason. There was no need. I mean, the need is that if I ever get lost, lose it again, I have a new pair, so that's good, but, you know. It was there all along, it had always been there. Like, the real treasure at the beginning of the journey and stuff like that was friendship. Friendship was there all along. And I couldn't see it. Maybe like this? Smaller. Ah, there we go. There we go. Ta-da! Menacing Cactus. I don't know how good of an emote this is, though. Not entirely sure how usable it is. But hey, I did it. There we go, there we go. So, I do wanna try to do this in pixel art. Let's see, I don't know how much of a canvas we should use actually. Go. And I want to see if I can animate it too, because that would be awesome, actually. Oh, Blizznax. What am I fighting for? Here we go. Yeah. I'm gonna try to use a technique. Cause I did, hold up. Let me show. Nope, that wasn't it. I did this recently. I did this art recently here. Where is it? This one? Right? And X sprite turned it out like really, really good. And I did the head using a different technique. Basically, it's this technique here. No wonder this look it off. Skirt was in the wrong spot. I see. I see. Bad to get your skirt off in the wrong spot. That reminds me, Mother's Day is coming. That means I should use this. With this. Which will always boost my lifespan, yes. This is the sort of outfit that boosts your lifespan. I kinda, whoop. Wait. Lifespan boost by minus 20 years. I kinda like this hairstyle, honestly. It's not like main hairstyle, but I do think it looks good. I think I want to do more of a close-up already on my deathbed because of that. Okay, so I'm gonna do it like this. This. But yeah. The idea of this style is you put the blotches in the place where things are gonna be, and then you just add it until it's it's in the shape you actually want. Is, let's see here. One more or less. This is over. Oh. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Oh yeah, Lunatic, I forgot to ask, I sent you the files for the Gyaru model. Is there anything that needs fixing? Did you find anything that needs fixing? Did I manage to cut it right this time? Is basically what I'm asking. Did I manage to cut it right this time? Oh my god, I did! Really? And there's actually no dead pixels? Oh, okay, that's fair. You're right, I did send it, yes. Sending is indeed a thing I did. Hero was getting excited that I actually got every cut right for once. And also I do have to apologize that I ended up it was supposed to be just a different outfit, but in the end, because of the nature of it being Gyaru and having a 10 and stuff like that, it's almost a second model, right? Man, this is not the easiest of poses. No. All right. Who let the Atelier music in? I did. Never played Atelier. Momochi played it a bunch, so while I listen in the background. So I kinda grew to like it. Atelier series is a very interesting game, though I mostly played them part of the Manakimiya ones. The music is amazing. The music is great. The music is absolutely great. There's an old RPG that I think it's from the same company who made the Atelier games, that I really want to play on stream at some point because it's so funny. It's such a funny series. It's called Ar Tornelico. And it is so gloriously goofy. It is so gloriously goofy. Have you ever heard of that one, Tammy? At least I remember it being pretty goofy. There are a few games that are so old that I feel like first time hearing about it. Really, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's one of those games that didn't really like make a big splash. And I do think it's a little bit of an underrated gem, though. Basically, it's also that face. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Maybe this should be the emote, actually. Maybe the emote should just be this. Hold up. Where's my Zero Hat reference here? No, this is the wrong one. There we go. Make sure the sandwich has a stamp that says 100% Sigma virus. Oh, dude. The games are gonna... X6 is gonna be the turning point, isn't it? I mean, X5 already was the turning point. The games are gonna get hella weird from now on out, from here on out, aren't they? You're gonna stop messing around. I really want to finish this brightness with 2 hours. Alright, I mean... Out of context, looks like he's getting excellent. Beautiful. Glorious, glorious. There's a reason why this scene is such a meme. There's a reason this is such a meme. There we go. This. Because I love the Mega Man X series, but I do know that there is a quality dive at one point. And I think we're already reaching that quality dive. There we go. Interestingly enough, right? Here, the head looks like it's a little bit up. The head feels a little bit more raised. Maybe... we do it more like this? And more like this. Just erase the whole thing a little bit. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Here we go. Man, today's gonna be my final singing lesson. At least for a while. Who knows if I'll pick it back up at some point or not. I'm gonna miss the teacher. I like her a lot. She was a very nice person. But as nice as she was, it's like I was talking with Momochi, we had already achieved most of our goals there. There's only so much for us to learn there, because at the end of the day, we aren't trying to like become professional singers. That wasn't our goal there. Our goal is to learn how to take care of our throat, how to do voice work a little bit better. And the singing lesson was a way to do that. And I think, honestly, I'm not entirely sure how much I improve it. I know Momochi improved it a lot. I know Momochi did a lot. I'm not sure how much I work it. Because sometimes I feel like I try to do voices and it feels like they don't... God damn, this image is so blurry. Hold up. Is there like something that isn't like completely awful from this? Can we have a better one? Can I have a better ref? Well, not of this one specifically, apparently, but let's get a zero ref. Roll Mega Man. Let's get a gooder ref. Huh. Okay. This is a gooder ref of 0. There it is. Yeah, so this is fine. Right, now we can take care of the details when we come to them. But I've been having a blast with the Mega Man games. I've been having such a blast with the Mega Man games. Looking at X5 though, it is interesting that in the Mega Man Zero series they rolled it back and brought back some of the difficulties that were in the more classical games, that they kind of shave it away from X5, so I thought that was interesting. Maybe X6 will actually have less merciful checkpoints again. And all that. I'm not entirely sure how they'll make it work. All I know is it is gonna be interesting. Okay. New layer. It's Iris time. Compared to the body, the head is bigger. So now that I'm looking at it, yeah, I definitely need to make either the head smaller or the body bigger. Yes. Yeah. God, Undertale. Such good music. So moody. Okay, now the head looks better. Now the head looks better. Compared to the rest of the body. Legs do need to be thicker, I think. The feet are meant to be ginormous. Just ginormous. And the chin here is actually could be smaller. Is maybe we can crunch it a little bit. Careful, you alert the rabbit fence. What do you mean, Tammy? Are there still people who are as passionate about Undertale and Deltarune as they were when it went out? When it came out? I remember there were... Really? I thought most of the toxic fanbase would have been gone by now. I honestly thought they might have moved it on. How bad is it? Is it like people still rather not touch the game? Because I remember it was a thing where it was like hard to stream the game because people would be mad at you for choosing the wrong things, so to speak, and playing the wrong way. That is always an issue with streamers, though. That is always an issue with streamers. I've yet to get people like that in my chat, but maybe it's because it's small. It's kind of an interesting thing. There's like a different dynamic when it comes to playing games when you're bigger. Because people think that if you don't enjoy the game, if you say bad things about the game, it will somehow affect the game negatively, right? Which is why people tend to be overprotective. Fennel has a tendency to be overprotective. Or try to like guide the streamer to play the game properly so he's not upset with the game and says something that could harm the game in some way. There's a lot of people who take it upon themselves to protect franchises and stuff like that, which is an attitude you can have. It's an interesting attitude you can have. I don't think it's a correct attitude you can have, you know? Though I do get it. Not gonna say I don't get it. There was this one time I watched there was this VTuber I was following, and they decided to play Inscription, right? Now, Inscription is a game I really, really like it. I really, really enjoy it. But immediately when he started, that streamer started playing, he was completely lost. He was very impatient, wasn't like giving the game the time it needed to explain what was happening, right? And immediately started calling it a shitty game. And it was very like it wasn't I gotta say, it wasn't a very good feeling. I went in there expecting to see him having a good time with the game, but it did feel like he wasn't like giving it a lot of a fair chance to the game. And honestly, that's probably how the Rabbit fans feel about like every playthrough of like Deltarune and stuff like that. So I probably got it. Right? Though I didn't like have the investment to be like, oh my god, if he plays the game wrong, people will think the game is bad, and therefore my enjoyment will not be I don't know, validated socially or something. Because I really, really don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. The maximum that I care about people liking stuff that I like is as far as, can I play this game on stream without getting anyone bored? That's about it. And that's about it. But I do... If the people let the streamer play the game however they want, I don't have an issue. If they try to lead on something obscure, then I don't mind, since it's something you could miss. The problem is when they start playing the game for you, right? Or when they start criticizing everything you do. Because honestly, especially with games like Undertale, if the streamer does something that could lead him to a bad end, that's the point where everyone in the room quietly snickers to themselves. Like, haha, he's gonna get that awful ending. Yeah, like, don't use that because it sucks, use this because it's meta. That's when we have a problem. Ah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's kind of why Momochi took the motto of, we like it hard here. It's like, you're saying this is the suboptimal choice? Awesome, let's go! Because at that point, how are you gonna argue with the person? How can you even argue with her? Oh, so you're saying what I'm doing is suboptimal? That means it's gonna be harder? Awesome, let's go. I guess that's why we don't have so much trouble, but I think the main reason we don't have too much trouble is size, mostly. The people who act overprotective, they tend to act overprotective because they feel if, like, the game gets exposed in the wrong manner to a large enough audience, it will be perceived as bad. And there are people you're right about one thing, Tommy. There are people who can be a bit more concerned with like meta and efficiency. It's a very interesting thing when someone like completely focuses on the efficiency of playing the game, right? How to beat it the fastest way possible, the easiest way possible, with the best weapons possible and stuff like that, versus someone who is trying to have fun. I feel like trying to have fun is almost like a dirty it's almost like a dirty term, because I've seen I'm playing to have fun actually being used in a way that's weaponizing before. Usually happens in competitive. It usually happens in competitive. When it's like, oh my god, all these tryhards, I'm here just playing to have fun, and they're playing to win, and I can't win because they don't let me win when I'm trying to play to have fun instead of playing to win. Which, at that point, there are two sides to that argument. There are absolutely two sides to that argument. Because honestly, I've been there with card games, with Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular. We do have a natural tendency as playing Yu-Gi-Oh! To like just hate on the meta and stuff like that, and the meta is boring and blah 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 blah. But also, you can hate on the decks, but the people playing with the decks might actually enjoy them, or might just enjoy winning with them. And honestly, if you like to win and you're playing a competitive game, yes, that makes sense. It makes sense you'd play a competitive game if you're trying to win. If you think winning is fun, that's why it's a competition. That's why it's a competition, so there be winners and losers. So it's like, can I really be mad at you? I guess not, right? I can be mad at the company. I can say that the company did a really shitty job with the balancing of the cards and stuff like that. But I can't really be mad at the guy who is using whatever the game has given them in order to progress. And pretend that if everyone was like me and only played my deck, then the game would be balanced and the company wouldn't need to fix anything. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. It's things that you learn through self-reflection, essentially. Essentially, you need to do a lot of self-reflection and a lot of like self-awareness to figure these things out at one point. But like, you can absolutely hate on the deck, but not necessarily on the player. Unless the player is right across you and is acting like all smug because he is playing the bigger deck and you're not playing the bigger deck and therefore you're weaker than him or something like that. Because that's also a thing. That's also a thing. It's like, as long as everyone's keeping it reasonable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. But yeah. It is very weird. It is very weird. I also get when people just are like, oh, I struggled a lot with this part. Let me save the streamers some time by telling them that they can just do this instead. I get when people do that too. Sometimes it is just a genuine sentiment of I am actually trying to help. And quite honestly, who hasn't watched another person play their favorite game terribly and got just a little bit tilted to the fact that they pass it through that one area that obviously has the thing that they're looking for, and they pass it through it 500 times. But honestly, I think that feeling of frustration is part of the fun. And why say anything and let it end? Just let the guy figure it out for himself and then be like, oh my god, I was such an idiot. You can be like, yes, yes you were. It can be fun. At least to me, I do think that's fun. I think that's fun. At that point, why play the game? Because every match will be the same. Yeah. Being real though, that is like a big issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! That game has a lot of interesting issues. It both has issues and it doesn't. Because I guess currently the player base is rather okay with having the same turns over and over. So it doesn't have an issue per se, but it has an issue in the sense that it has trouble catching new players. The main issue Yu-Gi-Oh! Has, I believe, is exactly that, the onboarding point for players, because it's like, okay, we have a stable player base, but not many new people are entering. Life goes on. People who might like the game might take a break off the format, and there are new players entering to take their places. Uh-oh. Because I do think that everyone who would be playing Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is playing Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the problems is asking the question, why are new people playing Modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? And a lot of the time is like community and stuff like that, so... It is a little bit worrying when it's that, because... How do I put it? There is a bit of sunk cost fallacy that goes on to older people, older players. They play a game because they've been playing the game for so long. I miss the song about Secret of Mana from Secret of Mana. It's such a good song. Dude, Secret of Mana has so many good songs. So many good songs. Love the games. Now, I am thinking here to myself, do I want to put more details here where it will be hidden, or do I want to start doing Iris? I think I want to start doing Iris. I think we want to start doing Iris now. Zero! I can't even do her accent. I wish I could do her accent, but I don't even know what her accent is. Is it Scottish? I really don't know what her accent is. But I do remember that Iris was so hated by the community when back in the day. It was unfair. It was honestly unfair. How much hatred this poor character got. People did not jam with her at all. Also, what the heck is her hat? What the heck is Iris' hat? Iris, aka the Moetron 9000. She's so ugu. She is so ugu. Also, I do love how Mega Man design works because it works in such a strange way. There are certain things. It's like, let's put things here to make it seem more sci-fi. So you have a beret with a vent. And it's like, lady, if your beret is so hot you need an exhaust vent, maybe don't use the beret, you know? Maybe that's... Maybe you don't have to have an exhaust pipe on your vent, on your beret, if you just don't use it if your head gets a bit warm, you know? Just saying. It is just to look cute, though. It is just to look cute, so... But it's still funny. She's gasoline maxing, exactly. Hashtag global war maxing. It's also very interesting, the skirt design in the robots. That is also a thing that is very H design choice. Like, it's an aesthetic purpose, sure. The purpose is purely aesthetic, but still. It opens room to a lot of questions which I have. I don't know how big her boobies are. I don't know how big her boobies are. I think they're bigger than Zero's. Hey Super Fudge, welcome to the stream, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. We're trying to recreate a celebrated scene in video game history. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Hope you're doing good. Let's see. Her feet. I'm gonna hate myself for this. Why, Tammy? I'm doing good, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. Thinking about stuff. Yes, 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 yes. Zero's milkers did all the replays to the yard. Beautiful, Tammy, beautiful. Honestly, I sincerely thought about whether or not I should put booby lights on my boobs when playing Mega Man. But I'm actually not sure that would be TOS. I actually have no idea if that would be TOS. It would be hilarious, but is it TOS? Am I highlighting my bazongas a little bit too much? Get it? Because of the boob lights? Doesn't actually one of the characters have that in one of the games? I mean... The gacha surely probably has. There's a... I think there's a Reploid with underboob. Hold up. I think one of the operators has underboob. She is the one I like the most. Hold up. Let's see if I can find her. I think she's from X8. Yeah. Oh, check this out. Check this shit out. Okay? She is not Twitch safe for streaming. If she was a VTuber, she would get banned. Look at that underbooba. Look at that piece of fake underbooba there. No exposed skin though, that is true. That is true. That is true. See? See? Exposed metal. That is true. She has no exposed skin. She has no exposed skin. She's a robot. Technically, she never has exposed skin. But that, you know, that's... Can you imagine? I can already see the people swarming and going, technically, just to try to get some good cleavage in. Oh yeah, super fudge. I want to show you something. Real quick. Because I know you're gonna appreciate this. Golden bikini animation. Okay. Let's not show too much of that, because the bikini is very tiny. And you're worried about robots. Nah. Actually, like, that cleavage and exposed skin for, like, drawing and everything, it's fine. The problem is as a VTuber model. That's where the issue lies, right? But apparently it's completely okay if a lady has a S&M slave on stream. I'm still trying to understand how that works, but, you know. Not gonna comment too much on it, because I just saw it in passing on a... So I don't know the context, but it doesn't... I don't know if there is a context where that sounds better. Oof. I mean, I know, but yeah. Hello, Momochi! Oh, Momochi is telling me that it's time for my break, right? So, we will be right back making this masterpiece. Also, I should probably save it. Sprite almost done. Nice. I'll tell her. So, just 1 second, BRB. And don't worry. Let me get the BRB. I'm gonna do ads so there's no pre-roll, and I'll be right back when they're done, okay? Oh my god, we're back! I just had the saltiest popcorn ever. It was so salty. Welcome back, thank you. It was barbecue flavor. Yay! Hello, hello, Tammy, hello, Superfudge. Thank you, thank you. So now, how do I make the feet? I need to focus on making the feet not look awful, otherwise I'm not gonna move on. They look so flat. Man, I was remembering the time that I found fan art of... not fan art. Fan fiction of Mega Man. The only type of fan fiction... Do you guys... have you guys had like a big habit of reading fan fiction? I never had that much of an habit of reading fan fiction. Except for Mega Man fan fiction. Mega Man fanfiction was the only one. It was the only one. I guess the main thing with fanfiction, right, is that it's really good when you want more of a story and then there is available, right? No fanfics? Not a single one? The closest I've seen is the YouTube videos Mega Man dies at the end. Really? So, what happens with Mega Man at the end? In those videos. What happens with Mega Man at the end of those videos? I'm not a fan. That is fair. That is fair. He doesn't die? What do you mean? That is... What a plot twist. That's like... The hero dies at the end, but we lied. Twilight fanfic! Oh my god. Twilight Sparkle fanfic, you mean? I'm kidding. Good night, Lunatic. Good night. I'm not a brony just because I have strong feelings about the fact that the series only had one good season. That doesn't make me a brony. Nini. First episode's Dr. Light telling him about how he and his grandfather like smuggled grandfather clock through the border and their asses, and now it's Mega Man's turn. What? Wasn't fanfic really popular on Tumblr? I'll be real. I'll be real. The type of fanfic that I read was... I liked one person's fanfic. Nah, that is not true. I like here's all the fanfics that I have ever read, right? I have read the highly acclaimed Mega Man fanfic known as Baz is not a fish, Baz is not a fish, by Lady Red Mecha Draco, right? Hello Medina, how are you doing? Which was basically a fanfic where she connected the story of Mega Man 7 with Mega Man X, where Mega Man kills Dr. Wily at the end of Mega Man 7. Right? And that sets in motion an event where robots become outlawed. Dr. Light goes underground, transforms Mega Man into Mega Man X to avoid from having to deactivate him, right? Being comfy, thank you, your hair is laying. Thank you, Medina. That is awesome. And basically it becomes a Mega Man X fanfic after that. And it's basically telling the events of the original Mega Man X game, but she has self-insert Reploids in there. She puts self-insert Reploids in there, which are the Mecha Drakes, which includes her own character, which I always just imagined was Red Magma Dragoon with a blonde wig, right? And she pounces and glomps on Zero all the time and brushes his hair. Honestly, if it wasn't dumb luck, Mega Man 7 would actually have killed him. He tried. Apparently not in the Japanese version. Supposedly. This is a thing that I heard way back in the day. And honestly, I can't 100% confirm. But apparently, Mega Man being so pissed that he wanted to kill Dr. Wily was actually a mistranslation. Which I think is wild that the characterization got changed so much because of a mistranslation. Mega Man is such a fever dream of a series. It absolutely is. I love it so much. I love it so much. Allegedly, supposedly. Yes, Demi. Because you can see how much Mega Man dials down in 8, right? I love you nerding about it, it's comfy. Ah, thank you. I am glad my nerdiness is comfy. Yes, 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 yes. Honestly, all I could ask for is being able to nerd out and still make someone's day better. Yeah, no? You know, there is... Speaking of... But like, it was such a fun fanfic. It was such a fun fanfic. It was so like... I don't know. It was kind of campy. Like, there was this original OC from the author that was a Maverick Hunter, but she was a human, right? And she was in love with Zero. And she had a stalker, which was this evil Reploid dragon called Leviathan, and he was like an obsessive stalker. And whenever he was close by to her, he would start singing "Sweet Child of Mine" menacingly, which, dude, like. Picture this. Picture a robot dragon. Get it? A creepy robot dragon going, "Sweet child of mine," whenever he's close to you. I don't even know where to start with that. Personally, I found her a very interesting person. I thought she was a very interesting person. Now, I wonder what the Stalker endgame is. Watching a move together, burn a city down together. You know, I don't actually remember what his deal was. I think it was like some sort of weird abusive parent sort of situation where she was like, she was adopted and he was trying to use her for some sort of experiment or something like that. I think it went on that angle, you know? But honestly, I really can't tell what the lady who wrote the fanfic was thinking. She was... Like, I followed her blog, and this one time she posted cursed... cursed McDonald's hentai in it. Like, really cursed, as in Ronald McDonald had a pentagram on his forehead. And it TRs the burger cop. With one of the workers that he was into. So I don't know what that was about. Not the Hamburglar. No, the cop, not the Hamburglar. I think the Hamburglar has a turn with her, if I'm not mistaken. It was very weird. It was very weird. Strangely enough, not the most cursed hentai I ever found by accident on the internet, but that's neither here nor there. It was one of the funny ones, though. Also, guys, I gotta go already, going to a trip and back next Monday, so please, lovely time and streams, my ninjas be watching in the shadows, appreciate you, I'll see you guys soon. Alright, Medina, hope you have a great trip! Yeah, have a good one. Thank you for dropping by, appreciate you. Oh my god. Like, whenever I remember the kind of hentai I would find on the internet, it always makes me wonder, why the hell did I kept watching? I feel like I didn't have much good experience with these at all. I do think it did come down to art style. Morbid curiosity? Possibly. That's probably part of it. I do have a lot of morbid curiosity. I have to be careful about that, otherwise my YouTube algorithm will just go insane, you know? I do have to be careful with that. Or my YouTube algorithm just goes berserk. Because sometimes you see things, right? You see thumbnails, like the thumbnail of, I don't know, how AI is threatening the hypnosisification industry, and then you're like, Wait, what? What is hypnocertification? Why does it have an industry? It's kind of hard not to click, but I know I have to, otherwise I might have a bunch more reports on that industry, you know? Now, I kind of know why that video was recommended to me, and it's thanks to that meme clip of the gaycation. Have you guys ever seen the gaycation meme? Have you guys ever seen the gaycation meme? Sort of a legendary Reddit post that I believe Froggy reacted to. You have never seen the gaycation? Oh my god. The gaycation meme is so good. Now, the issue is, and I do have to give a heads up, that unfortunately, it is fake. Right, it is fake. But it is such a... It's such an amusing tale. It's such a wild ride. It's like Lord of the Rings, right? You know Lord of the Rings is fake. You know there are no hobbits and no real Dark Lord and no stuff like that. But the fantasy of it still makes you dream. And that's kind of what the gaycation post is, you know? It lets you dream into it lets you drift off into a different reality that may have some elements that are not quite unlike our own, right? So the gaycation meme is basically, there is a lady on the Am I the Asshole Reddit threads, right? And she is talking about how her husband appeared one day with a very, very strange proposition talking about this gaycation that he wanted to go to, which was basically some sort of retire. It was like a place where men would go so they could engage in gay activities, but it didn't count. So it was where straight men could go so they could engage in gay activities, and it didn't count. Because for you see, that was the beauty of the gaycation. And he was trying to convince his wife to let him go into the gaycation. And he was even saying that sometimes the gaycation could take months or even years. And the story follows the lady who grows increasingly confused and scared about what's happening, that her marriage is ending. And then she finds out that her brother-in-law is also involved in this and that they want to go on the gaycation together. And she's like, "Are you trying to tell me you're bi?" And it's like, "No, I am fully straight, because you see, that is the beauty of the gaycation." And it all seems to somehow coalesce into hypnosis porn. And it feels like there's some sort of weird indoctrination shit going on in the side, but it doesn't really go that way. And anyways, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I can't make it justice. The original video of Froggy reacting to it is out there. You can look it up. Oh my god, it's the ultimate goal of the Reapers. It really is. It really is. So I think because I saw that clip recently, it showed me this. It was also VTubers reacting to that, so that probably helped the algorithm. But yeah, there's just stuff. It's hard not to. It's hard not to click. Morbid curiosity is my one weakness. I'm not rage baited, but when it comes down to morbid curiosity, I am definitely weak to morbid curiosity. I'm definitely weak to morbid curiosity. If you put like this very, very strange game has these really, really weird visuals. Do you want to know what that's about? I'm gonna be like, yes, yes, I do. Can you show me more? What was that? Why did he had a paper bag for a hat? Stuff like that. I will absolutely click on that sort of stuff. I'm I'm a simple person. I am a simple person, yes. You won't last 5 seconds. Hey, I can last plenty long, thank you very much. Under the proper mindset. Wait, what are we talking about? Hold up, what are we talking about? No. Wait. No. Wait. I think I lost track. That's fair. I mean, the whole point of these art strings is that it's just a string of mine. You get invaded at looking at weird things. Yeah, no, you said something that felt very familiar, Super Fudge. You said something that felt very familiar. I think I may have seen that, You know what, but does that bait me? In those sides too? Not necessarily. Weirdly enough, you do need to give me a hook for me to actually care first. It's not that easy to bait me. You gotta give me something early on. You gotta be at least like, you're not gonna believe in which position they did this, and then you're like, oh, what do you mean? Then maybe that works a little bit better. I'm done. I'll do the tail and mustache later. Nice! Good job, Tammy. Vampire Survivors is also a game that I've been having a lot of fun with. It is... Survivors? No, Crawlers. Now it's Crawlers. The card game. But at the same time, I keep looking at the game, and weirdly enough, it feels more RNG than Slay the Spire. And I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that in the game. It's really fun, but it also feels super Gamba a little bit. It feels so much more Gamba than most roguelikes. A weird feeling. Not 100% sure how I feel about the game at the moment. I like it a lot. My other weakness, card games. I am always interested in like different card games, different mechanics. I like learning games in general, but there's something about learning card games that feels more fun. Though I do think that part of it might just be a little bit of, like, attachment from back when I played card games more often. Maybe there is a part of me that's just like, yeah, I can still play card games, even though I never really do play card games IRL anymore. That is might be a little bit attached to the idea of playing card games still. Even though at the moment, more monetarily, it just doesn't make sense for me to play them anymore. It's kind of the issue with card games. Card games, they are very... you only really... They're only really worth it if you have a community to play with, right? Because they tend to be very expensive, and it's like, oh, you could have a Magic the Gathering deck or a brand new Switch 2. Your Magic the Gathering deck will last you, like, I don't know, 2-3 formats maybe. Sometimes less, because new cards are coming out every time. Which is an issue. I do think it's an issue. Here we go. Down, 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 down. Felt like... Felt like down, 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 down. Down, down, down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. But yeah, enough about card games. Enough about card games. I feel like I ramble on about them a little bit too much, and like none of you guys really play them too much. But yeah, I get baited so easily with like when it comes to like morbid curiosity. I only played it IRL. Which game? Which one did you play? Magic? I have a weird relationship with Magic the Gathering. I don't find it extremely appealing. IF is the best part though. Ah, thank you, Super Fudge. I like Magic the Gathering just fine. It's the only one I play, TBH. It makes sense, it makes sense. For most people, I think, at least the most common experience is like you played Magic the Gathering at some point in your life, because Magic the Gathering usually is, at least was when I was growing up, the card game with like the largest community. So you just had people to play with. And let me tell you, as someone who insisted on playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though there was literally no one to play, it sucks to be part of a card game that you're not actively engaged, that you're not actively playing. It sucks so much. It sucks so much. I did this twice in my life, where I would like have a deck for a game that no one plays, but I'm keeping it updated and I am trying to get people into playing the game around my area. and cultivate a community and stuff like that, and people sometimes join, but then they leave and then they join again, and you're like trying really, really hard to get to get things off the ground. And then when there finally was a Yu-Gi-Oh community, I wasn't enjoying the game anymore. Because it was around the Pendulum era. Oh. Then I remember I moved it on to Cardfight Vanguard because it seemed like there was a community of people playing the game. And then they all vanished at once. Then it took a long, long time until I found a community of people who actively played Cardfight Vanguard. And it was super fun. It was one of my most funnest moments playing card games that I had in my life was during that time when I finally found. They all vanished at the same time? Yes! Yes! See, the thing was, apparently, everyone who was playing the card game was friends with one guy. Right? They were all friends with one guy. And this one guy got them all into playing the card game at once. Right? And then this one guy decided he was going to stop. So, since everyone was the friend of that one guy, and the only reason they were playing was because of that one guy, they all up and vanished. And it was overnight. I never honestly, I felt scammed. Honestly, it felt like a scam. I remember I went into the card shop. There were 10 people playing. That I live in like a not a rural area per se, but I do live in like a smaller city, right? So having 10 people actively playing a card game is a lot of people. Right? It's a lot of people. It's like, oh my god, 10 people? That means if I go on every weekend, I might find 3 people to play with? That is so much people to play with, you know? I bought the starter deck, right? Came back the next week. They were all gone. They were just gone. There was no one left. They do have hive minds, they do. My understanding is apparently no one really liked the card game, they liked the guy who played them, and apparently the guy who played them cheated his ass off. He like was literally making up effects for his cards. I think he quit the game when he discovered he was playing wrong. Maybe that's why everyone quit. Because they realized their cards didn't do anything they thought their cards did. Oh, don't worry, Tommy. Go rest. Have a nice day. Take care of yourself, okay? But it was so weird. Hey, will you have a good rest of your day? I will. Don't worry. Take care. But yeah, it was super weird. So it was pretty much me, Momochi, and two other people who were playing Cardfight Vanguard. Building the decks wasn't expensive, but it wasn't easy because the cards just just didn't arrive in Brazil. It was just hard to get the cards. And the card game, rarity-wise, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It was like this is standard with most card games where like if you crack a box open, you're not gonna get any deck full, right? That is standard. But because the quantity of booster packs that actually got sent to the shop was very low, that meant had really rough time completing decks. And the company was very bad with reprints. Like, I remember there was this one deck that we could have built, but we couldn't finish it because we lacked a common card that was an absolute staple that you could not play without. Like, literally, rule-wise, you could not play without. It was a trigger card. It was an obligatory card that you had to put in your deck. And because there were no reprints for that card, I physically could not play with the deck. And even if I played an incomplete version, it was mechanically so important that you couldn't even think the deck had a chance to compete on a basic level. It was very, very bad. Which caused us to have to go to some CD websites to try and get the cards. And the card in question was a freaking goat eating a dictionary. That was the card that was lacking to finish the deck. It was fun, it was a furry deck. But yeah, that freaking goat eating a dictionary was extremely rare just because of terrible oversight on part of the company. So that was kind of trashy, but overall, fun times. Fun times. We had to buy the card at a place called Toguro Store. And God, this string is not sponsored by Toguro Store. Toguro Store sucks. Toguro Store is awful. It's probably not open, that's why I can probably belt mode it without causing any issues for that guy. Vanguard was anime style. Vanguard was anime style. Vanguard was super anime style. Vanguard had its anime released for free on YouTube. Their format was that they were a card game anime that was done. Okay. Wanna hear something fun? Vanguard was actually made by a guy who worked on the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga. Yu-Gi-Oh! R is a spin-off of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, where Yugi has to face a bunch of disciples of Pegasus. I think the plot is that Pegasus' son wants to avenge his father from dying or something, and he blames Yugi for Pegasus dying, when really it was Bakura's fault. Like most things in the Yugiverse are Bakura's fault, right? But he no care for that. He wants that sweet, sweet vengeance. So Yugi has to fight like a tower. So it's like some sort of challenge tower kind of situation. And there are a bunch of assassins with different cards, and one of the cards broke the game. There is a card called Green Baboon that appeared in that manga, and when they released the card into the card game, the card broke the game to such a fundamental level that they had to do a ruling change that changed how people play the game forever in order to nerf the card. I shit you not. I shit you not. One of the worst rulings that could ever exist in card game history, which was the fact that there are effects in Yu-Gi-Oh! That miss the timing, only exists because of that card. Because of that card, and because Konami didn't know how to handle how prevalent that card was in the card game. But anyways, so Vanguard, the plot of Vanguard is that if you spend all your money on card games, you will be popular and have lots of friends. I wish I was joking, but that is actually the plot. Kid, do you want to be popular? Play card games. That is the plot. It's also very, very yaoi yaoi fanbase heavy. It's also a show. Cause like, there is something really, really funny about Yu-Gi-Oh! Also has this. Have you ever noticed that you may have or you may have not noticed, but there is a very dedicated Fujoshi fanbase hidden within Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't necessarily play the card game, but they're out there shipping the crap out of Bakura, Merrick, and all the pretty boys from the original series. The original series was Fujoshi heavy. Was very Fujoshi heavy. And it makes sense, the boys are very pretty. The boys are very pretty, and most of the time they're wearing tank tops. You know? Even Yugi, despite having the star afro, which looks weird, dresses up in very stylish leather. Girls into that shit, you know? Girls are very much into that shit. Pretty boys in leather, it's sign me up. It's very much a sign me up. And Cardfight Vanguard was not different. It was not different. That's also a thing that Cardfight Vanguard inherited. Cardfight Vanguard, I think, inherited it pretty hard too. Because in Cardfight Vanguard, the protagonist has there are a few special relationships with certain characters who play the game. Like, he has a rival called Kai. And Kai is like this cool, aloof dude who cares about nothing but winning at any cost, and he has the Draconic Overlord, a super powerful being, but at the same time, he has a soft spot for Aichi, and he was the one who taught Aichi how to play, and there is like this unspoken, and Aichi is like, oh, I am so not in love, but I respect you so much, Kai-senpai, and I just want you to notice me. So there is like some heavy romantic subtext going on there, right? But Kai is tormented by his past, because you see, Kai once cared deeply about another person, another duelist who was also a childhood friend. But that duelist awakened a hidden, evil, psychic power that changed him. It changed him into a bad person. and now he's afraid to open up to anyone again. And things become especially spicy because Aichi seems to have awakened the same psychic power. And what will happen next? Will Kai be able to keep his new boyfriend intact? Or will he succumb to the darkness of Psyqualia? That kind of stuff. You know? So, Fujoshi's ate up the drama, like, really well. And there's once you get the Yaoi train going, there's no stopping the Yaoi train. Once the Yaoi train leaves the station, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. It just to be like that. But yeah, currently Vanguard doesn't have any of the original characters in the cast anymore. They are... At least I don't know. Vanguard is in a weird spot. Okay. As a series, right? I'm not gonna say as a card game. But as a series, Vanguard is in a weird spot where it's becoming... It's following the Ouroboros trail. Which basically what is happening is it's old enough that there is some amount of nostalgia demands for it. So it sort of started being less about telling a story and more about referencing stories that were already told from the franchise, right? So every so often they will release a deck that is like, if this character played the modern version of Vanguard, this is what their deck would look like, with all the units that have the same name as these old cards that aren't playable anymore. Now they're back in their newest version, with effects that look almost the same from the cards you used to have in the past, but mechanically adjusted so you can play them today. You know that kind of stuff? Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's okay if you don't. You can tell me. I will try to explain better if it's required. But the key idea is that it's at a point where it doesn't know whether it should try to bring new people or do its best to keep the people who are already playing. Right? Which is kind of in the same spot as Yu-Gi-Oh! In that regard. Right? They keep being like, we're gonna make Blue Eyes meta and stuff like that. Only in Vanguard's case, Vanguard is a really funny case study for like a card game anime. Bushiroad as a company, the company Bushiroad, is a very interesting company too. It's a company that takes care of like several card games, including popular card games like Weiss Schwarz, which you may have seen people playing in anime conventions. If you ever been to anime conventions, you probably saw someone playing that and was like, huh, why is that guy playing a card game that is a bunch of screenshots you can find online? That's Weiss Schwarz. I'm sorry, Weiss Schwarz fans, but let's be real. They don't put a lot of effort in which art they're gonna put in the cards. Let's be okay with. Are we okay with that? We're okay with that. But in exchange, you can play your Uma Musume deck. There's an Uma Musume deck in there because there is It's basically a crossover IP. It's like a anime Fortnite the card game. That's the best way to call Weiss Schwarz is basically anime Fortnite the card game. And I think I like better like this. But yeah, Cardfight Vanguard was basically, it started out as a slice of life card game anime, which is like, honestly, amazing. A slice of life card game is something that sounds extremely fun. For a few episodes, then you kind of realize that it does get a little bit boring, the concept-wise, right? But like, there were episodes dedicated to the beauty of buying boosters and enrolling in how much fun it is to play casually at a card shop tournament, right? There were plenty of like episodes that were just that, just stuff that you do when you play the card game, trying to essentially sell the hobby to new people. And then they were like, this isn't spicy enough. Let's bring time to bring out the world-ending threats. Let's bring out the psychic powers. Let's bring out the drama to make it more interesting, which honestly kind of had to. They kind of had to. There was only so much. There was I remember there was like a very interesting side plot. It was very interesting. The most powerful character in that show was not the protagonist or the antagonist. It was a girl who had severe PTSD while also having photographic memory. And she played a deck that was actually so powerful. The first 2 world championships were won by people playing that exact deck. They were playing her deck card by card, and it would win the world championship twice. Also, fun fact that Cardfight Vanguard had their world champion, their first world champions were all women. Which, like, for a card game that's just starting, I think it was the first one that did that. Like, card game starts, women champion right away. I think that's a first. That's actually a first. Now, that deck was, I'm not gonna say the deck was fair. It relied on a few things that made it a little bit too good. To the point where they actually had to stop. They actually had to bench the character. Because if she got any new support, it could actually break the game. Every time she got new support, it would actually break the game. They had to bench the... Imagine this. You have this character that is loved by everyone, is really popular, but for game balancing reasons, you have to bench her as a character. You have to bench her as a character. You start writing duels where she loses, being like, see? Her deck does have weaknesses. Trying to convince people to stop playing her deck and buy new shit. But her deck was still winning everything. It was amazing. It was amazing. They forced her to change decks into like a weaker version of her deck. It was straight up a downgrade from how she played. just because they didn't know what to do with the character. It was really funny. Bushiroad as a company, they fumbled so much in ways that were so spectacular. It was part of the fun of playing the game was just watching Bushiroad squirming in the background whenever something weird happened with the game that it wasn't like part of what they were planning to happen. Because Bushiroad was kind of like those DMs that really likes to railroad you, right? You could absolutely tell that they wanted certain cards, certain clans to be the popular clans, to be the stronger clans. They gave unfair amount of supports to some clans compared to others and stuff like that. They tried to match what the player base liked and make it stronger. It was a forced meta. It was very much a forced meta. However, because of their issues with being Bushiroad, really, they failed at every step. It was really, really funny. It was really, really funny. It just never quite worked out the way they wanted it to. It was super funny. A Vocaloid nearly destroyed the meta. A Vocaloid won the championship and nearly destroyed the meta. I'm not really joking. I am not really joking. That did happen. That did happen. That was part of the joy of being a Vanguard player back at that time. That was part of the joy. Just watching the weirdest shit unfold. The weirdest shit unfold. So, how did a Vocaloid break the meta? Allow me to show you. Allow me to show you. I'm gonna see if I can keep this as in a way that is easy to understand, even if you never played a card game, right? So I won't get too much into mechanics, but I am gonna show the face of the cards. Pose and card. So there was a deck called Ripples, right? It was a deck where it was these Navy cards, these Navy General cards that swam underwater. And it was an old deck. So it was an old deck that was an old favorite. So Bushiroad decided, hey, we have a few slots open in this booster pack. Why don't we give it some new support, so it can be like a cute filler pack thing, so players can have fun with the deck again, right? So they released a few cards, and along then, they released this land motherfucking looking ass here, right? Let's be real, this is a Vocaloid, right? Which created a consistency effect that was so good that it allowed people to take advantage of a really old card that had a rush effect. Now, basically what they did is they accidentally revived an old archetype and turned it into mono red. They turned it into a full aggro archetype, which meant essentially, and the problem with it being an aggro archetype was that the deck was too fast, and all the cards, the most powerful cards, all the most powerful meta, everything was set up to be slow. So what they did was they released support that made that created a very cheap, hyper consistent rush deck that would just style and plummet every other deck in the game really, really fast, really, really cheap, as long as you had the old cards. So this was a situation where the only people who were happy were people who owned the old cards, which were cheap as dirt originally, and then there was like none left in the stores anymore, right? Everyone just cleared them out because they wanted it. And the world champion won, and the best part of that, this kerfuffle, was that they were trying to promote a brand new mechanic, and they didn't really give support for the new mechanic to this deck, which was like the indication that they didn't really want this to be meta, together paired with the fact that it was a cheap deck, right? Like, you can kind of tell. If they want something to be meta, they also want to make money out of it. They want the cards to be chase cards and all that, so they will make it, they will jack up the rarity of the cards, right? So it was like that thing, the protagonist cards were always more expensive and stuff like that. So this deck came out of the blue, started completely demolishing all the meta decks at the time, and the casters were instructed to try to really hype up whenever anyone used the new mechanic. The casters could not hype up anything from the final match. So everything that Bushiroad had planned to do to like promote the new mechanic and make you want to buy new cards and stuff like that, all out the window. All out the window. The very next day after the World Championship, the poor Vocaloid was banned/restricted. I think he got restricted to 1, so he couldn't be consistent anymore. Immediately banned. Immediately banned. And then they did the same mistake again with Pirates later. It pretty much released support that allowed for the exact same thing to happen. Because although I really loved the mechanic that they were promoting, right, which was an extra deck mechanic, it was like really cool, it offered a lot of diversity and stuff like that. It was very vulnerable to strategies like that, so they instead of like being like, okay, so we can have different strategies in our card game, they were like, no, ban everything that isn't playing the way we intend the game to be played. So that push and pull, I always thought it was pretty funny. I always thought it was pretty funny, that push and pull from the player base and the game developers, because they were a little bit of control freaks. And seeing control freaks crumble sometimes is really funny to me. But ultimately, the house always wins in these cases. You can rebel against the way the game is supposed to be played as much as you want, but in the end, the company will make you play the game the way they want you to play it. So really, if you're not satisfied with the way the game is being played, you should not play it. But as far as card games go, Cardfight Vanguard is definitely one of the card games that make you feel like you're in a card game anime the most, in my opinion. It definitely is the one, because its whole mechanic, its whole system is built around you having boss monsters out, and the boss monster is always indestructible. So it's not like you summon Dark Magician, and Dark Magician immediately gets trap hold. And like you're struggling using a regular beater in order to finish the game instead of finishing the game with Dark Magician and being flashy about it, right? No. In this, the Dark Magician is gonna stay on the field, and you should build your entire deck around whatever the hell the Dark Magician does, because it is gonna be your main win condition. On the flip side, that also meant the decks were more linear because of it, because you had to build your strategy. Because you had to build your strategy around your boss card, you kinda always played the same thing, because monsters can only have so many things written on them. They can only have so many things written on them. So it did have a little bit of I guess replayability issue. You could argue it's a replayability issue if you wanted to. If you got bored of a deck, the only solution was to make another one, which works for the company. It works for the company. A lot of people had multiple had multiple decks. Instead of doing the anime thing of only having one deck, right? That never works, by the way. That never works, by the way. Being a one-trick pony in a card game seems like it would be a good idea. It never works out that way. If you're like, oh, I have enough money just enough money for one deck. I'm gonna play that one deck to mastery and perfection. For a while, you will either get bored, or your deck will get power crept, and they will try to make you buy something else entirely. Because they are trying to sell product. So the deck of my heart, the deck of my soul, my one true card, that will never come. That will never come. There isn't a card game where that can happen. They tried. They tried though. They tried to conciliate both. Then they did that with what we like to call retrains. Now, retrains, I already touched upon this, but essentially what they did was they would release the same character, cards of the same characters, right? But they would be stronger. So you would have the knight that looks like Mega Man, and then you'd have the knight that looks like Mega Man after a vacation trip to the Bahamas. And after a vacation trip to the Bahamas, the knight that looks like Mega Man would have extra effects. Right? That is how that works. And just so you know, when I say the knight that looks like Mega Man, I do mean the knight that looks like Mega Man. I am not making this shit up. Welcome, Blaster Blade. You Mega Man looking ass. There he is. You tell me this doesn't look like Mega Man. Like, come on. I think it's pretty undeniable that he looks like Mega Man. It's Mega Man with a sword. He is not a robot though. He isn't a robot. And now, one of the funniest things about Vanguard was the fact that it had a lot of unexplored lore. Because, like, it focused on human characters, but the source of the powers, the psychic powers that were part of the series, was actually a planet where the monsters actually existed. And even more absurdly and interestingly, right? Whenever people play the card game on Earth, the energy of the duels is the energy of fate is directly transferred to the cards that are to the equivalent cards that exist in that planet. So every time you play Blaster Blade gets a boost at whatever fight is happening, and there is even an implication that whenever you're playing the card game, the actual battle is happening on that planet. So it's a planet where the destiny of what happens in the planet is literally governed by kids playing a card game. And if like someone is a really powerful player that uses a specific card that is important to the world, that unit will try to help the person win by channeling some fate energy back so that he can top deck a powerful card or something like that, you know? There was a whole lot of stuff. There was a season where they tried to explore that. They didn't do like a very good job, but essentially they did a job. It just like, there's just so much potential with what you can do with that no matter what they did, it wouldn't turn out amazing, right? It would just turn out passable at best. But there was a season where they tried to explore that idea, and one of the monsters from that world decides to come to Earth to try and change the system, because he had his whole unit wiped out, and he discovered that the main reason his whole unit got wiped out was because the company that makes the card game on Earth did not give him support for like 10 years, so they were outmatched because of it, and all his friends died. Because a card developer didn't make his deck meta. Imagine dying because of that. Imagine dying because of the winds of capitalism. They really did die because of the winds of capitalism, if you stop to think about it. But unfortunately, he got tricked by a god of destruction, a cult of destruction. He thought the god was going to destroy Earth. Turns out the god was after destroying the planet that they came from instead. So he gets tricked. He has a redemption arc where he helps the characters and then dies to redeem for his sins and all that. But the god is unleashed, and then there is a whole nother season of people who decide to make a pact with the god in order to get spared from the destruction of the old world and move on to a new world. And that's the plot, And this started with how fun it is to open booster packs. This all started with how fun it is to open booster packs. There isn't much else I can talk about Vanguard, I think. I think I covered most of it. Oh yeah. They, unfortunately, deleted the original series because they made a remake, and they were like, people might be confused if we have both the remake and the original series. And they deleted an episode that had the best line ever, especially out of context, which was simply, "I have come to duel Bigfoot." And honestly, out of context, that is so good that I don't want to give you the context. You're just gonna have to go along with it, and that there is a character that just goes, I want to do a Bigfoot. And he did. He did. He went to the Himalayas and fought Bigfoot. That's the thing that happened in the show. It was glorious. Because it was Kai, and Kai was the serious character. And the serious character fought Bigfoot. At one point in the show. Because he wanted to know how good of a duelist Bigfoot was. Makes sense, right? Makes absolute sense. Of course. Of course it does. Of course it does. But they deleted the episode. I'm so sad. That is so sad. Vanguard, good memories, good memories, good memories. The most fun part, like I said, the most fun I had playing any card game happened to be Cardfight Vanguard, because I had found a community to play with, and it was very fun. The whole... You get... when you're dealing with people, you end up getting dynamics, and the dynamics are really funny. Like, for instance, Momochi. Momochi had a rival. She had a rival. It was so funny. She played her plant deck. And there was a guy who liked to play with the main protagonist deck, right? And he could never get over how much the plants hurt. The plants were very, very beat down. They reached really, really big numbers doing combos. And he could never get over how he just kept getting trounced over and over. He didn't know how to even begin to counter Momochi's deck. So there was like a one-sided bitter rivalry there, and it was really, really, really funny. It was really, really funny. Like I said, it's that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff makes card games fun. That kind of stuff makes card games fun. Card games kinda act like a social lubricant, as to say. The name, I learned this recently. There is a name for places like card shops, which are called third spaces. And the cool thing about third spaces is that it's a place where you can hang out and socialize with different people, usually united by a hobby or something like that. And these third spaces are actually very important for human socialization. And they are slowly being replaced entirely by the internet. But unfortunately, it's by social media. Like, probably one of the better third spaces, surprisingly enough, is VRChat. Because VRChat actually allows a more direct connection with other people. It has its issues, a lot of them, probably. I never used it, but I hear that there are a lot of stories of VRChat people being sussy in a bad way. But overall, people need places where they can talk to each other, essentially. And it is important that these spaces are offline as well, so you can log off. because the internet can be overwhelming. And yeah. That's basically it. And that's my Cardfight Vanguard TED Talk. Thank you for joining. How are we doing here? We're not too bad. We are not too bad. There we go. Here we are. I hope I can polish this as much as possible. I want this to work. Honestly, if this works out, maybe I can do like a template. I could make Momochi carrying Kiba in this pose. Or something. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure where we go from here, but we could go somewhere. Could be a thing. I know there are memes where it's like the reverse. Instead of Zero carrying Iris, it's Iris carrying Zero. There's always gonna be dumb memes like that, honestly. And they're always fun. Here we go. Okay, now what's happening with the hair? Okay. I think I want to create a secondary layer here temporarily. Because of the way the hair works. Ah, thank you for the pad, Superfudge! You know, I was thinking about something the other day. I really like to look at other people's models, designs, VTuber. The VTubing space, one of the funnest parts, I think, it's just because it's like this hub of OCs. Just seeing like everyone's different ideas and stuff like that, it's very stimulating for your creativity and all. But there is one thing that I'm a little bit afraid of. And one thing that is very important, and one thing that I've seen cause a lot of attrition before. And that thing is when you try to give criticism or feedback about the design of the VTubers in question, right? You have to be very, 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 very careful. You have to be very, very careful. Which is why I have seen a few streams that try to do that, turning sour so quickly. Like, so quickly. Because a lot of the time, when you're like, if you're like criticizing a VTuber model, hold up. Okay, anyways. Anyways. You just gotta dance when you listen to that song, don't you know? That's the law. If you like completely write someone off because of their design or something like that, or sometimes even like noticing a flaw with their design and stuff like that, can let people hurt. You can actually hurt people because especially if they already rigged their model. Especially if they already rigged their model. And like there's nothing they can do to change. So it is like a thing that if you want to do criticism of design, character design and stuff like that, you have to do it in like a very, very well rounded way. You have to be really careful about it. You have to make sure you are always like constructive. You have to be very constructive. And even if you are being very constructive, there will still be people who will not like it. So you have to make sure that if you're gonna criticize models and stuff like that to a large audience or something like that, you have to make sure that everyone is consenting and it's gonna be okay. Because wow. Particularly, I don't think people do that anymore, but there used to be a lot of like VTuber model tier lists, which was like a way people would almost like engagement bait to a certain degree. Not in a bad way, but where people would like be like, "Ooh, drop your PNG and I will rate you," right? And stuff like that. And people would like do entire streams about it, and they would talk about the designs and stuff like that. It was kind of like a VTuber beauty pageant, right? People who got carried away doing very nasty criticism would sometimes get carried away and do very nasty criticism and would absolutely get in trouble for it. Because when you're doing this sort of stuff, you gotta be careful to not turn it into like a online bullying session. So that is something that I saw a long time ago. I hope people figured out. I know there are a few that are... I know at least one streamer who has figured out that recipe to do that successfully. But she is like an art teacher. So she does streams where she is not only rating VTuber models, but actively trying to improve them. So it's pretty much like a free... what's the name of the word? I only have it in Portuguese, consultoria. But basically, it's like it's something that people actually would pay for. It's a free class in design, essentially, and she even like gives like pointers and tips on how to improve the design, and like show you how you could put your concept into action. Because this does happen sometimes where you have a concept, but then when you try to make the actual model, either because you couldn't quite figure out how to include everything, because that is hard, obviously, or because you don't have like a very strong technical know-how, which is also a very hard thing, you waste a few opportunities. You waste a few opportunities. And having someone who is an authority, so to speak, doing these sort of things is really cool. It's really cool. Part of me kind of wish I could join this kind of discussion, but I really, 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 really don't want to offend anyone by accident. You know what I mean? I'm also not a super authority in game design, not game design, in character design and stuff like that. I'll be real, I would love to submit my model design for evaluation to that lady at one point, but I don't know, because it's kind of already rigged. I might feel bad. Can you imagine? She like gives an amazing insight that I can't put it on my model. That would suck. Na, na, na. Hey, it's shaping up. It's shaping up. Look at this. It's shaping up. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Momochi, when do you add Booba? Technically, her Booba is very close. It's very... I mean, I could make her Booba ginormous for no reason whatsoever. It would be pretty funny. Also, I am thoroughly confused. I was talking about how a breast expansion toggle would be against Twitch TOS, but I keep finding people who have them, and that confuses me. And they're not subtle about it either. I will not risk it though. Twitch causing confusion? No way. I know, right? Twitch is always so clear about the rules. That's why never and anything bad ever happened because of that. God. Still better than streaming on Kick though. I believe. My understanding is that the average Twitch viewer is much nicer than an average Kick viewer also. Outside the company having some worrying allegations for different stuff. Okay. So it is what we got. It is what we got. And despite it all, at least I've never been banned before. I do keep it on the safe side always. I did try to keep it on the safe side always. And I'm not necessarily looking to be a LoserTuber either. If I became a LoserTuber out of the blue chat, it'd be pretty confused, right? It would be really, really vexed. It would be really weird, wouldn't it? I really don't think that kind of content really fits me. Yeah. That shit ain't for me. Hey, it's Zero's team. You know, there is a part of me that kinda wants to do this as like an asset, and I can just hold that iris while playing Mega Man. That could be really funny. This will require further testings. Can you imagine? This could work, honestly. Momochi, how much more time do we got? Should I stop now? Stream? Oh, great Momochi of the sea, what is your verdict? We're having our final singing lesson today. And then we're gonna have pizza. Because that's what you do when you finish your singing lessons, you have pizza. What are we fighting for? Pizza and cola. Pizza and cola. Heck yeah. There we go. Where can we add more detail to make her better? We can add a third shade, a third color of shade here. Since this area is like further away from the light. There we go. This also allows us to add more depth to the drawing. There we go. Very nice, very nice, very nice. What are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? Oops. Yeah, here we go. It's fine. Okay, so now we need to go back to 0. Gotta give him his long, beautiful locks. Okay. Yeah, it starts here. Man, this is like almost artsy. Honestly, I feel like I should make a frame. I should just frame this. And put it like in a backdrop somewhere. Nah, but I think to put in a backdrop somewhere I would have to make like a lower res version. It would work really well as like some sort of Easter egg. This is so good. What are we fighting for? There we go. Eh. Here. Okay. So, unfortunately, we couldn't finish it today, but everyone, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you all for joining me. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this. I might animate it. It would be fun. But anyways, everyone, regardless, thank you all very much for joining today. I hope you all have a wonderful day and night. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time, okay? Now let's find someone to raid. Who shall we raid Shadow Legends today? You could make them out wobble, like screaming. Oh yeah, I'm definitely animating this somehow. I am definitely animating this somehow. I'm not sure how, but I am animating this. So let's find someone today. Let's see who is on today. I see different people doing different things. I don't see many familiar faces. But I need to look differently if I want to find the familiar faces. Twitch seems to be having trouble loading for some reason. But it did. Huh. Deadlock, Moon, Split Fiction. Yeah, there aren't that many people streaming. Do I just go to a random stream? I might go to a random stream. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, I found a pixel artist. Hold up. Let's go to another pixel artist. Manic Pixel Bean Girl. Yeah, sure. Let's go. So, everyone...
These creatures, man, I should have muted.
Thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night. Stay awesome. And remember, when in doubt, when you think you can do it, just think like a ninja, and sure you can. So bye-bye everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye.